Does your setting have a personality? Perhaps it is a character you didn't know you had. Let's find out on Welcome to Jenn's Writing World. If you have a story to tell, you're in the right place. Let's do it 10 minutes at a time. Welcome back to another 10-minute writing session. I hope that your story is moving along. If you're doing Camp NaNoWriMo, I hope you're getting your words in. If you're doing it on your own, I hope you're meeting your goals. Today I want to talk about something that can be a little tricky to understand. The idea of setting as a character. I mean, setting is easy, right? We put our book in the city. We put our book on a tropical island. And there it is. But there is a trick that makes setting, well, come alive, one might say, sort of like a character. And that is, you make it so your story can't take place anywhere else except where it is. If your setting is just a setting and you're writing a murder mystery, well, then it's no big deal if you pick up your entire story and move it 1,000 miles. So maybe you're in Arizona to start with, but you move it to Toronto, Canada. And nothing changes. If that is true, then your setting was just a setting. It was kind of a still overlay in the background, and it didn't impact the story in any way. Well, that's not very memorable, is it? It's a lot more fun to read a story when the setting impacts the story, impacts the character, and in its own way becomes a character itself. You might notice I am wearing my Harry Potter hat today because Harry Potter is a perfect example of the setting being its own character. So you think of the castle and the moving stairs and everybody in the corridors and things that happen inside and outside, whomping willows. Everything that is setting, as in it is where the story is taking place, impacts the plot itself. It impacts the characters. It impacts how they react to things, why they react to things. It impacts who they become. So you could take Harry Potter and you could take it out of England and put it in a tropical island and have a very similar story. However, it would not be the same story. And the reason for that is because the setting is so much a part of the story that it simply cannot be ignored. If you don't have the gloomy halls and the whomping willow and Hagrid's hut and all of it, you have a different story. Now, lots of people have written Harry Potter-like stories, but you might notice that none of them are really Harry Potter. And part of that, besides different people writing it, is that the setting is crucial to the story. And so today, as you write in your 10 minutes, I'd like you to think about your setting. Is it just background? Is it just a still painting that could be interchanged with any other still painting? Or is your setting integral to your story? Does it impact plot? Does it impact characters? Does it come to life to the point that somebody reading the story wants to go and visit where your story takes place? Because that's how much the setting has become a character itself. It is something to think about. Now, again, as I always say, it's not necessarily something to think about in the first draft. I mean, you might have to do a lot of research to get exactly the right nuance you're looking for. And as I say, research is important. Don't do it during your writing time. But if you feel that your characters need a little motivation or your characters are feeling a little two-dimensional, why not beef up the setting, bring it to life, give it a personality, and see how the characters react to it. It could be an interesting experiment. Well, now it is time to write, so let's go do 10 minutes. Well, I am surrounded by cats, so it must be time to write. I hope you have your work in progress up from yesterday. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen to Reggie and Piper in my science camp story. And I have the timer right here. It's set for 10 minutes. So why don't we get to doing that? 3, 2, 1, write. Well, as always, that went really fast. We did talk about setting today, and my setting hasn't gotten fascinating yet. Once the time travel comes into play and they go back to the Cambrian, setting is going to be vitally important in my story. Right now, it's just your typical summer camp, although, now that I think about it, I should do something to make it fascinating. I hope you thought about your setting today and did something interesting to spice it up. All right, well, we got through 10 minutes again. Did you feel that you were noticing your setting more than you sometimes do? Leave a note down in the comments if you find that your setting is coming to life, or if you're thinking, I wonder if I should do something about this setting. Also, of course, letting me know where your setting is. It would be very interesting to see what everyone is writing about. And I'd be willing to bet that even if we say, oh, it's a forest, and someone else says, oh, it's a forest, it's not going to be the same forest. So, if you want to get notifications for when I drop my next video, which of course will be tomorrow, go ahead and subscribe down below. Hit the little notification button. And if you got something out of today's writing time, I hope you will give me a like. I always appreciate it. Most important to me is that you share the channel with your writing friends so that more and more of us can join the community and more of us can get our writing done. So now it's time for today's quote. This one is from Joseph Bates. He lived a long time ago. He was an influential religious man and also a writer. And this is what he had to say. Setting is directly related to your character, another way of revealing and deepening our understanding of him and his quest. In this way, setting serves a kind of double function: how your character relates to his environment, allowing us to visualize the world alongside your protagonist. But the character's relationship to his environment also tells us something about the character himself. And there you go. Joseph Bates lived back in the 1700s, and even he understood the importance of setting. So long from Jenn's writing world. Until tomorrow, write, write, write.